Okay, welcome to another AriasWave update. This is a market update. It's very important that you pay attention to this particular update more than any other update. The reason for that is because it explains what's going on in the broader markets, especially the Nasdaq. And this is based on information from previous analysis on the Dow Jones, which goes back hundreds of years. So it's the fundamental reason why AriasWave predicts that there will be a massive crash. But before we get there, there are some things that you need to know. And that crash isn't going to happen yet. It's probably going to happen soon, but we're probably going to see a massive pump. A lot of people are bearish right now. And when people are bearish, usually it's a good time to buy. And I believe the reason for that is because we have one more massive pump coming up. And it's part of why I've been covering 4 cryptos, and it's made me think long and hard about the bigger picture. And I've put this video together for you in order to visualize why I'm doing this. I want you to learn the waves, but in the meantime, before you decide to, I want you to see how this all pans out in the long run. So the video will cover mainly the Nasdaq and Bitcoin, and it will also illustrate why the Nasdaq has been so hard for me to analyze. I believe it's manipulated so much that it's almost like they don't want us to know the real pattern. But it's good. It's a good thing that Bitcoin at least seems to provide a much better clue, and covering other coins as well has given me the ability to sort of formulate that picture and visualize and present in a very precise and coherent manner what I believe is going to happen. So hopefully you enjoy this one.
Okay, so over firstly to the Nasdaq. So we know from the Dow Jones and the previous analysis from AriasWave that we are in a D wave. So the D wave is, I don't know if you've seen my analysis in general, but the D wave is the second last wave in a correction. So for the D wave to be complete requires the C wave to have complete 5 waves up. So as you can see by my labeling on this chart, that we are yet to see one more wave up. Now this is important because from this point on, you can practically almost double at this point in time in a very short period of time. Okay, so the low marked here with the red line is at 11,000 and the target is 22,000. How did I get that target? Well, I measured the first wave. Now the first wave is here, second wave expanded, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so I've been thinking about this a lot, okay, and I've been thinking about every single aspect of everything, how it interconnects, cryptos, everything. So every single wave has its component, its wave component, okay? Whether it's a 5-wave move or a zigzag, those are the only 2 patterns you're ever going to find on a chart. But if you put them together in this, massive puzzle, then you can get some clues, right? And that's what I've been doing for the last 2 years, is getting those clues. And finally, I think I have got it. And in this new YouTube series, which I plan on continuing, I like it. I can introduce myself, introduce my video. I want to show you why, and I want you to see who does it. That's me. Get the RSI up on the screen. You can see wave 3 was the strongest wave, right? and that is wave 3. It's a third of a third wave. Okay, so you have wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is going back to using some AriasWave, which, some of it is useful, a lot of it isn't. When waves 1 and 3 are similar in length, wave 5 tends to be short and sharp. I know all the rules back to front because I remember losing a lot of money when I depended on it like the Bible. So AriasWave is basically like a hybrid version of AriasWave, except it has everything you need to make money, basically. So the end of this move up the top in end of last year, end of 2021, it was just the end of wave 3, right? And the reason why this correction is so shallow is because correction tends to come back to the previous 4th wave. That's another AriasWave thing, but it doesn't always stand true though. In this case, I think that it might be right. So within this structure, I believe there is a 33535 pattern, which is AriasWave set of corrective wave components. So we need to see one more push to the upside. That's going to double from the red line, double the Nasdaq. Okay, so think about what that means for a second. Doubling at the top. So normally people get bearish early and then the market goes up again, and because it doubles, that's when people go crazy and start to pile in at the top, especially on exponential charts. And that's when you see the mania and then the dumping. Okay, so what we're going to see after the D wave is an E wave. Okay, now nobody knows how low that's going to go, but because of what they're doing with interest rates, I'm pretty sure that it's going to go very low. Okay, now my estimate for this video is that it will go to the previous, second wave of the third wave. Okay, so it's around, let's just say it's around here. Okay, now it's 3,901. Okay, now I've used this type of estimate before and it's been pretty accurate, but let's just say that's what it is. That's 82% decline. So if you saw an 82% decline, you'd probably freak out and think that it's the end of the world. Okay, so, well, let's just leave that there for now and just ignore that. Just pretend I didn't say that, but I just want to include that there for later. Anyway, so that's the reason why I think wave 5 will go double the length of wave 1, 4 to 5. Great, cool. So as I mentioned before, this is based on the Dow Jones long-term analysis, which is going back hundreds of years, because I've got a chart that's got the European markets connected to the American markets a long time ago. Anyway, moving on. So the reason for this market update is to bring you that piece of information, but Bitcoin, because I know that's the key driver to cryptos. But first, let me take you to the BLX chart, just to give you an example of what I believe is happening here. Okay, so what I believe is happening here is that wave 3 ended in 2017, wave 4 ended in 2018, 19, and then we are looking for 5 waves up. Okay, now I've seen a lot of people analyze this and they say they use support and resistance, right? So because Bitcoin didn't close, and I'll quote Gareth Soloway in this particular example because I'm intrigued on his work. But the thing that I find more interesting is that with the whole support and resistance thing, because it hasn't closed below the last all-time high, then it's not considered, well, going any lower, which is fine. But what happens when it comes down really fast in the future, which I believe it will? I don't think you're going to have much time to react to that sort of thing. Like, this is fair enough. Fair enough. Let's just leave it there. So part of the reason why I don't think this is going to go any lower is because if it does go any lower, it's getting awfully close to the wave one, right? So once again, another Elliott thing that is kind of useful is that price action, wave four price action is really not allowed to go into the price territory of wave one and two, okay? So that's a pretty typical Elliott wave thing, which is okay half the time. It depends because there's a lot of different circumstances where that cannot happen, but typically yes. And also because of the structure. Now, we have a five wave, a correction. That correction is confirmed. I have looked at it a billion times. That's a five wave move confirmed. So it could have been a really long B wave like A, B, but this is not a C wave, okay? And I've looked at so many charts to figure this out. And I've had to like literally compile a lot of charts to get the understanding that this is what it is, right? And I'll give you a brief overview whilst we're here, okay? So for starters, we have a 3, 3, 5, 3, 5 pattern, okay? So that's an A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so yes, there's two threes there, a 5, a 3, and a 5. Let me do that again, just so we can really dial it in. Okay, so we have A, B, C, A, B, C, 5, A, B, C, 5. Okay, so it's A, B, C, D, E. The D's tiny. Okay, so this is now the way I see the markets. But you'll notice that it's not the same pattern. Wait, or is it? It is. Actually, it is. So if we go back, so okay, before we leave the Bitcoin chart, okay, we're at the end of a wave three, up the top here. Okay, we have a complete correction. Sorry, that's a 4. Okay, and then we have seriously, did I even label this properly? A fifth of the fifth wave is coming. Okay, so that's a complete 4 correction done. So now, after what I've seen across 4 cryptos and rethinking and analyzing mental processing using AriasWave, of course, like AriasWave is the CPU. I'm just like the RAM. So if you're into IT, we are looking for a bounce. So have we hit a low? I believe we hit it in June. Okay, if you go to the SNX chart, the lowest part was in June. The lowest point was in June. That was a 95% drawdown. Okay, cool. So let's go back to the Nasdaq for a moment. Okay, at the same point, we are at the end of a wave 3. Okay, so what's the first thing that you notice here? Okay, is it really obvious? I don't think it's really obvious. Okay, so first of all, we need a 3-wave move, which, to be honest with you, happens straight away. Okay. Now this here, I don't know about this low here. That's looks like a 3. That needs to be confirmed. Right. 5, 3, 5. Okay. Now, I cannot rely entirely on the NDX chart. Let's go to the NAS 100 chart. Once again, it doesn't look right. 3, 3, 5, 5, 3. See, it's one of those things. These charts are not really helping much. That's why I can't, like, I tried labeling this like an E wave, right? Except if you do that, there are some charts where 4 doesn't go into 1, etc. So to me, I cannot rely on Nasdaq charts. I've never been able to, right? Especially at these highs. I don't trust any of my labelings on Nasdaq charts. But when you look at the bigger picture, right, it makes a hell of a lot of sense. It looks like manipulation to me. So it's primarily the reason why I have not really posted many Nasdaq charts in the past. It's because they are distorted to high hell. Okay, that's a 33535 pattern there. All right, if you didn't have the manipulation of the non-confirming lows, right, which we should have here and here, everything else checks out fine. Okay, 33535. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This, I believe, is going to all-time highs. Okay, so I can't really say much about the correction because it looks like shit. My analysis is shit when it comes to this correction, right? But I can rely on probably every other chart. Okay, so I gave you that. It wasn't pretty. I know it didn't seem right, but this thing looks like it's going up. Okay, so does SNX and so does Bitcoin. Okay, now the Bitcoin chart, it makes a lot of sense, right? It makes a lot of sense to me, right? 33535. I cannot see anything better than that. And the reason for it is because one more high is needed. Okay. So how would I count this whole pattern from the beginning? I think I've mentioned this already, but I'll try it again. So first of all, we have a wave 1. Now I'm not going to go getting all colorful here. I'm just going to go quick. A, B, C, D, E. Okay. So that's 1, 2. Okay. I reckon this is 1. All right. Start of a new trend to the upside. It'll probably go to best guess is 100K. But the reason I can't give you a proper estimate is because the BLX data doesn't show the first wave of Bitcoin since 2009 when it was created. Is this a 33535 pattern? All right. Well, 33535. Look, to be honest with you, I don't want to go there in this video. But if we pull a fib, which is the lazy way out, 0.618, cup break, I'd say the low is down here. I'd say the low hit the 0.618, went just beneath it at $20,711. And I'd say, sure, I'd say that's safe, a safe bet. Even safer would be down here at 18,905, but why would you? Well, it depends what you're doing, really. Right? So, yes, I've seen this happen many times. SNX chart, for example, at the lows last night, created this same sort of pattern before it exploded to the upside. What do you think Bitcoin's going to do? Okay, it will explode. It will complete its, actually, sorry, I can give you a rough estimate of the price action that's going to occur. And it's taken this wave one. And I don't think this is going to distort it much. Extrapolating here. So it's about 80,000 according to that measurement. If I just zoom in a little, let me try and make sure that's right. Yeah, it's almost right. Okay, it's almost right. So it's Bitcoin, maybe another 10,000 above the previous high. Okay, so if it went to 70, it could go to 80, roughly. Okay, but from $20,000 to $80,000, even to $70,000, yeah, that's not bad. My concern is what comes next, and it's got nothing to do with Bitcoin. It's got to do with the whole environment. It's the whole macro theme, right? How low will it go? Well, the move that I thought this would perform is still yet to happen. Okay, so it hasn't happened yet. So let me leave it there, because there's probably a whole bunch more that's going to come your way now that I've started really grasping and catching on to this. So please leave a comment, like, subscribe, and tell me what you think. Tell me where you think Bitcoin's going. Tell me what you think your target is, and tell me, do you think it's bottomed? All right, I'll catch you in the next one.
AriasWave.